Hey everyone, the other day after Mass I was in the church parking lot and I got talking to a lady who found out that I like rocks, and I found out that she likes rocks. And during our conversation she told me about this belt buckle. This was her cousin's. Her cousin died recently and she was out in California and cleaning out his apartment, found this, and it's missing a stone. So she asked if I could replace the stone in there. She figured it was probably turquoise, and after doing some research I found similar belt buckles and they almost all had turquoise stones in there, but I don't have any turquoise, so I'm going to go with a Michigan angle and try to use Leland Blue, which is a slag glass. It's a byproduct of smelting iron ore in the 1800s, found over in Leland, Michigan, so we'll put a little Michigan spin on this. And if that doesn't work, I'll try some other rock, but that's what I'm going to try first. So anyhow, on the back here it says W.S. Sterling, and apparently it's sterling silver. The W.S., I couldn't figure out what that meant. I thought it was something to do with a type of silver or something, but it looks like it's maybe the artist's initials. I found 3 different Native American artists with the initials W.S. that were stamped on various things. 2 of them were named Willie something or other, and the other one was Wiley. I have no idea if it was one of the Willies or the Wiley or some other W.S. artist, or if that means something completely different. So if you know, let me know. So I'm going to try to shine the silver up and make a stone to fit in there. So we'll see how that goes. This is my stash of Leland Blue that I've collected the last couple of years. Right away we can eliminate these that have noticeable metal in them. And I'm looking for something in kind of a blue color. So this one's very blue. That's a very nice one. I might try to use that. Let's get that wet and see what it's going to look like polished up. So that's kind of a turquoise color. I don't know about these bigger pieces. To me that looks more gray. Not nearly as nice a color. That one's also kind of gray. That's more greens. And I don't need a very big piece, but I need to be thicker than that. So if you look at this, that's down in there a ways, so this has to be a fairly thick piece of stone. Got the darker stuff. It's not a bad color. So I'm going to try this one first, and we'll see what I can do with that. If that doesn't work, we'll try one of the other ones. So the first thing I've decided to do is grind this surface flat. It's the flattest part on this thing. There's this big dent on the other side, but I think I have enough thickness right there that if I grind this flat and maybe cut this part off on my saw, I'll have enough room to make a cabin there. I can draw it on the bottom here. It's going to be a little oval shape, and then hopefully grind it to shape. After that on the wheels and maybe a little bit on the saw, we'll see what happens. This is new territory for me. Now that the back is nice and flat, I'm just going to cut off this bump here on the trim saw. Okay, so we're back over at the flat lap. This is the side that I just cut on the saw. This is the side I ground in the flat lap before. Still got this little divot in there. So I'm going to try to grind this down and just make it a little more flat so I can draw out my cabochon on here. I'm not even sure which is going to be the top and the bottom. We'll have to decide that as I go. I think that's good enough. There's a little bit of a dent right there, but there's enough surface there that I can work on, I think. So look down inside of there and you can see there's a smaller oval shape inside this outer oval shape. That's the size my cabochon has to be, so there's going to be a little airspace around it. So I got this template, I have this set of templates, and just sort of lined it up, and it looks like that 14 by 10 is going to be pretty close. If it's a little big when I fit it in there, I'll just grind it down until it fits. So I need to take my rock and kind of make an oval on there somewhere. I got to pay attention to the front and the back and make sure that I'm in the best possible spot, but something like that. So I'll draw a little oval on there, cut it out in the saw, and then grind it on the cab machine. So far so good. That fits in the little oval inside there. I had to play around a little bit and trim it and try it and trim it and try it again, and that's where I am. So the next thing that's kind of weird here is that angle. So normally what you do with a cab or a cabochon is you draw a girdle line around here. So that's just a line that's parallel to the back surface of it, and then when you're doming it, you work up to that line. So like I said, normally you want it parallel, the line to be parallel to this back surface. This is all a little wonky right now. The top and the bottom I don't think are perfectly parallel, but that's okay for what I'm doing. So I'm going to put it in here. I think what I'm going to do is take my marker and attempt to draw a line around here so that it's higher on this side and lower on that side. So then when the finished cab is done, it's kind of flush with this metal up on the top here. And I don't think I want it to stick out because I'm afraid it's going to get caught on something and then fall out. So I think it's going to be better to have it mostly flush, maybe sticking out just a little bit. I think this is going to be the smallest cab that I've ever done compared to kind of a normal size cab. So I might have a little problem putting a dop stick on the back. So a dop stick is just a dowel that you put on the back so you have a handle when you're working on it, and that's just hot wax on the back there. So I've got a smaller dowel. I'm going to attempt to do this, and if I can't do this, I'll just have to hold it by hand and it'll be fine. So we'll see if this holds or not. There's the little cab all polished up. The dop stick stayed on most of the time, so that was good. And I'm just going to set it down inside of there. So there it is. Sticks up a little bit. I think it should stick out a little bit. So I'm pretty happy with that. Next thing I'm going to do is try to shine up this silver, which is something that I've not done before. After doing a little research, it looks like Zam is made for this, so I'm going to try Zam on this. I don't think I'm going to do it on camera, but I'll let you know what worked when I get done. So I'll start in the back and just practice back here, and in case something goes wrong, it'll be on the back. So I'll be back in a minute to show you how it turns out. Alright, let me just show you how things are going so far. This is the front that I haven't touched yet. And here's how the back looks after I polished it. Now I haven't gotten the scratches out, and I wasn't really trying to. I was just trying to make it look less tarnished. So, here's what I've done so far. I started with this felt wheel on my Dremel. Here's my Dremel. And I used a polishing compound called Zam. And usually I use this on Tosky stones or other soft rocks, and it just brings out a nice polish at the end. Then this came with the Dremel. It just says polishing compound number 421. So I think that's what's called Red Rouge, but I'm not 100% sure because it doesn't say anything else. But I put this little brush I had in a Dremel kit. I put the little brush on there because I wanted to get around these different little things sticking up there, and I did an okay job, not great. But I used that next. And then I used this thing, which is called a sunshine polishing cloth. You can see where I've run wire on there. When I do my wire wrapped stones, I use this to polish up the silver wire before I put it on there. So I just scrubbed it with that, and that really brought out the shine. So I think I'm going to do the same thing in the front. This is looking good. Alright, there we go. This is looking really nice. It got really shiny. There's still scratches and nicks and dents and things in it, but I'm just not knowledgeable enough to know how to take those out without ruining things. So I'm going to leave well enough alone and leave it like that. But that, in my opinion, looks pretty good. So I'm going to now use this stuff called E6000. It's just a glue to glue that in there. A lot of times I use epoxy, but just in case anybody ever want to take this out, I think this is going to be a little more forgiving. So that's what I'm going to use. Just put some on the bottom and glue her in there. This is Kate. She's the one who gave me the belt buckle, so she hasn't seen it yet, but she's going to see it right now. So here you go.
Wow. Oh, isn't that awesome?
So that rock is, it's not actually a rock, it's slag glass. It's called Leland Blue. It's from Leland, Michigan, on Lake Michigan. And there was a foundry there where they smelted iron ore. It's called the Leland Lake Superior Iron Company. And it was from 1870 to 1885. So that stuff, people love that. So.
Oh, yes.
You said you like blue.
Blue is my favorite color.
So that's the closest thing to turquoise I had.
Yeah. And that's amazing because you see, turquoise being my birthstone, I liked it, but blue is just because I'm a blue person. And this bear claw just has a beautiful. Before it looked so naked.
Yeah.
With that stone missing, and it was my cousin's, and when I found it in his estate things, I looked at it and I thought, oh, what a shame, the stone's gone. But then I took it anyway to keep as a memory.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be something I can wear.
Yep, I did my best to shine the silver up. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was.
It's lovely.
So
before, you wouldn't have even known it was silver. You just think it was some dirty old metal.
I didn't know it was silver until I read on the back it said sterling.
It said sterling. Yes.
Then I knew.
And so that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's gonna get worn with all my slacks that have belt loops.
Okay.
That's good. Awesome.
All right.
Let's see how that turned out.
Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.